check this out. This pizza is totally legal, totally healthy, and I'm going to show you how to make it. This is a great recipe. The key is the crust. The crust is made with cauliflower and mozzarella cheese. There is no bread, there is no bad things, there's no sugar, none of that in there, no MSG. And this is a cruciferous pizza. You can have it as much as you want, and it's actually very, very healthy for you. So let me show you. You can get fresh mozzarella. You could even use mozzarella goat cheese if you want. But it just so happens that I already know that this makes 2 cups. But I'll just show you right here. So we got 1 cup right here. Okay? And then 2 cups. See that? Alright. Then we just simply take 2 eggs, really simple. Yeah, that's going to work, isn't it? Okay. There we go. Alright. You can tell that I'm not a cook. Alright. But it seems to work. Now, look at this. I have 2 eggs, 2 cups of mozzarella cheese, and 2 cups of cauliflower, and we're just going to mix this around. It's kind of weird because it just doesn't seem to look like it's going to make a crust, but it's going to. You'll see. Now, don't put salt in it because the mozzarella cheese is already salty enough, and I do see some bigger little chunks here. I'll take this out because I don't want that chunk in there. Alright, we're just going to mix it up just like that. That's what it looks like. Now, check this out. I'm going to just show you something. This is what the crust looks like when we cook it. Look at this. It's crispy. It's somewhat hard. That's what it's going to turn into. So it melts and it browns, and you're going to cook it for 15 minutes. So the hardest part about this whole thing is making it on the parchment paper. Okay? So let's talk about how we're going to put this in here. Get these little cheap little pizza tins right here, and then we're going to take parchment paper. If you don't use parchment paper, it's going to be a little hard to get it off there unless you put a lot of olive oil underneath it. So the hardest part is cutting the parchment paper to this pan here. So I'm going to just attempt to do it right here. Kind of work with it a little bit. I'm sure there's a technique to it. I don't know. So it didn't quite fit here, so I have to trim it up. Now, because this pizza has mozzarella cheese, it's somewhat oily, so you don't have to put any oil on this pan. So I'm going to just show you right here. I'm going to take this thing right here, and we are going to put it right in the center. Now, just so you know, I did wash my hands, so don't worry about that. Does Dr. Berg wash his hands? Yes, he does. Okay, so now I'm going to just take this thing right here, and I'm going to kind of even it up here. All right. Then I'm going to use my washed hands and start to press and flatten. So the secret number 1 is to have the parchment paper. Secret number 2 is to make it really thin. Okay. Now there are some things I've tried, like taking some of the moisture out because it's a little moist in a microwave or even in the oven. It's not necessary. It's really not. So you can see that I have some more space over here, so I'm going to just start from the center and just kind of slowly kind of push it towards the edge here and flatten this thing right here. Okay? Now, I already preheated the oven to 450 degrees, so that's all ready for us. So, okay. Now, this is what it looks like. Very simple. We stick in the oven for 15 minutes, okay? And then it's going to come out like this right here. So let's go ahead and stick in the oven, and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so we got the crust cooked at 15 minutes at 150 degrees. Now we're going to put the sauce on it. Now, take a look. You can use actual pizza sauce, or you can use pasta sauce, spaghetti sauce. So you just want to make sure that it doesn't have that sugar or high fructose corn syrup. This one's really, really good. This has no sugars. It's a bit expensive, but this would be fine too. This has no added sugars as well. So yeah, it's not too bad. Try to find something with very low sugar, and we're just going to take this and we're going to put a little tomato sauce right on the center there. I did make a mistake of putting too much sauce, so it really depends on your taste. So start off putting just a little bit of sauce on it and then see if it works. So I'm going to probably put a little bit more sauce right here and here. Roughly a quarter cup. So we're just going to put the sauce smeared around. Now we're going to put some more mozzarella cheese on the top. So I'm just going to take some cheese, sprinkle it. Not too much, just enough. Okay, so we got the cheese on there. Now we're going to put some mushrooms. All right, I love mushrooms. I'm just going to cut these little bad boys right here. Put some mushrooms on it. Okay, then we're going to put a tomato. Now this is a real tomato. You notice it's not perfect. It has a bunch of little holes in it. This is the good stuff. This is what it tastes. It actually tastes really good. Okay, so we're going to just put some chunks on there. Now we're going to use some basil. Alright, so I've been growing some basil out here for the pizza, so I'm going to just chop some of this off right here. Okay, so with basil, I'm just going to put the whole leaf on it. I'm not going to cut it, but it adds a lot of flavor. Now, we got the basil on there. Now, you don't have to do this. I'm using some pepperoni because my kids like pepperoni. And then we're just going to put this on there. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put a little pepperoni on there. Good, so let's go ahead and stick in the oven and let's see what happens.